What do you think about the Squarebody, buddy? Huh? What do you think? Don't forget, like, subscribe down here right in the corner of this video. What do you think about the Squarebody, buddy? Yeah, Zeus is excited. All right, guys, today you saw Mortsky and I pull this old Bad Chad Squarebody right out of the pasture behind my house. Today we're gonna do a little tune-up on this thing. It is a balmy 11 degrees this afternoon, and this thing runs like garbage. So we're gonna go ahead and put an assortment of parts in this thing, sponsored by my boss, Bad Chad himself. We got the whole Napa catalog we're gonna throw at this thing. We're gonna get this thing running great. We're gonna get a brake caliper back on this side so we can stop. We can do a bunch more stupid and fun stuff here on this channel with the old Bad Chad Square. As you guys saw in the last video, we started this thing on fire. Check out that live action. We got a real big fire.
Oh, it's just the plug wires.
And we threw a belt. No big deal.
Weird.
We neutral dropped the living bejesus out of it. Go, 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 go! And we used valve float as our rev limiter. Let's get this thing running right so we can do more of that kind of content here on this channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe right here in the corner of this video. Alright guys, as you can see, we got a full Napa catalog here with us today. We're going to throw parts at this thing. We got a set of spark plugs, since we know those are probably fried. We got a set of spark plug wires, since, as you saw in the last video, we started this thing on fire. We've got a rotor and a cap for the distributor. We're going to make sure we're getting all the spark as possible into the cylinders. Make sure we get as much burn as we can out of this old tired engine. And then we've got some antifreeze, because we puked it all out of the chewed up heater core line. We've got 5 quarts of our premium Napa oil and no filter, sponsored by Bad Chad himself. And finally we have some automatic transmission fluid, because as you saw in the last video, you know as well as me, that dipstick is bone dry. So we're going to get this thing running right, hopefully driving. The only thing Bad Chad did not get us for this rig is a battery. Bad Chad, you watching this? Get us a freaking battery for your rig. Alright, let's get this stuff installed. Alright guys, I'm going to start here with the distributor cap and rotor. Then we'll move on to the plug wires and then the spark plugs. Tech tip, firing order for a small block or big block Chevy is 1-843-6572. Learned that when I was in high school, never forget it. We're gonna go ahead and get going with this cap and rotor and continue down to the spark plugs. Well guys, the good news is that our springs are not froze up. They still seem to work pretty good. The ignition module looks like it's in pretty decent shape there. There's no real terrible signs of anything in here, so like we're just gonna button it back up with a new rotor, put a new cap on, and we're gonna call it a day. Not terrible. It's not really bad to do other than that it's 11 degrees outside. Here we got the new cap and rotor, which is a 1/4 inch screw. We've got the old cap and rotor, which is a Phillips head screw, and you can see the two side by side. This one is pretty wore out. There's a lot of debris in it. There's some corrosion on the contact right here, and there's a little rust on the screws and stuff. The inside's really bad shape, so we're just gonna go ahead and throw a new one on. They're pretty cheap. It's good insurance. So here's our cap. We did not get a brand new coil with our cap, so we're just going to stick with the same cap that we got now. We will have to change the coil out, put that on the cap, line up our connections and stuff. It's not too difficult of a job. We'll get into that now. Here you can see our old cap, and this is our coil. And here's our new cap, which we don't have a coil. So we just got to remove these 1/4 inch nut drivers here and then transfer the old coil onto the new cap. If I were doing a tune-up on my own vehicle, I would have probably purchased a new cap for this, or a new coil for this cap, but not my vehicle, so I don't really have much of a say. This cap is now garbage. You can see all the corrosion on the inside here. So that cap's now garbage. We'll transfer all of our old, used, nasty parts onto our beautiful new coil. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that rust up. You can see there's a little rust on here. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that up. There we go, guys. I just cleaned that rust up so we'll have a little bit better contact on this here piece for a rotor. See, the rotor is gonna ride right on there. So we're just gonna make sure we got a little better contact for that. I think I'm also gonna clean up this piece here. That looks pretty corroded. So we're gonna clean that up there. That way we have good electrical contact with our rotor. There we go. We've got that all cleaned up. We're gonna go ahead and throw this pad in the brand new cap. So I feel comfortable enough that that's gonna conduct enough electricity to our rotor, and we're gonna get some half decent spark out of this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and plop that pad in there. Then I'm gonna punch my coil right on top of that. Woo! We're gonna be cooking with peanut oil now. Well, guys, when I shook this thing upside down, I lost the ground strap for the coil, and I can't find that sucker anywhere. I've been looking for about 30 minutes, so that might put a hold up on this here tune-up, but we're still gonna get through it. All right, guys, so I lost that little ground strap. I'm gonna go ahead and continue on with the tune-up and either pray that I find that ground strap that I dropped somewhere over here in the engine bay, really pray, or I'll figure out a way to make it work without that. So I'll make my own ground strap, or I'll find something. So anyway, we're gonna move on with the tune-up here. We're gonna move on to spark plug wires and spark plugs. 1-843-6572. You got that? Tech tip of the day. There's our old spaghetti mess of plug wires. Now time to set up the new set on the new cap and plug them into the spark plugs. Just finished the spark plug install. You can see my shiny brand new spark plugs down in there, and check out the old plugs. I was expecting one a heck of a lot worse. So that one was burning a little oil. We were running pretty lean on the other ones. I know we were running pretty lean because the carburetor was acting up, but still the plugs look pretty decent. I was expecting a lot worse, so I am glad to see that. Now, next step is let's run the plug wires from the distributor cap down to the spark plugs. Put this coil together. I got all my brand spanking new spark plug wires ran. Gosh dang it, that looks nice. This thing's gonna be running like a freaking champ in no time. So I'm gonna put this ground wire on. I'm gonna finish up the cap and the coil and all that jazz, and then we're gonna move on to fluids. Alright guys, we got that all buttoned up, so our ignition should be spot on now. We're going to move on to fluids. First things first, we're going to change the oil. We don't have a filter because we weren't supplied with one, so all we're going to do is drain the oil and put new oil in it. So new oil is better than old oil, and you know, we have it, so why not use it? We'll just go ahead and give it a little more air. While that's draining out of the bottom, we'll fill up our coolant. Looks like Chad got us some 50-50 pre-diluted. Not good, that only gets us a gallon. So, Chad, that would have been cooler if we would have got full strength. Then we could have got 2 gallons out of the deal. But I'll go ahead and put this 50-50 in and realize that that's not enough, and we're gonna run it anyway. That was definitely not enough antifreeze. I'd say we've got the radiator about 1/8 of the way full, so definitely gonna need a couple more gallons of that. Sorry, Chad. All right, guys, we got the oil all drained out. Now we get to put our beautiful, high-quality Napa brand 10W30 in here. At least it's fresh. if nothing else, we can say that we have fresh oil in this really high quality 76 GMC. Oh, look at that pour! Beautiful. And there you have it, fresh oil. There is nothing like putting fresh oil in your vehicle and leaving the same old filter. Tech tip of the day: when you're done with your funnel, let it drain right back into your oil container. No mess. All right, guys, back at it here. We went to Bad Chad's and we got some more antifreeze. We got a carburetor filter since the one we had was garbage. We got a battery. We got an oil filter. So we are all ready to go. We're gonna button this thing up hopefully today. I just got home from work. It's like 5 o'clock Friday night. We got all night to work on this thing. Check out the carburetor filter. This thing is just freaking nasty. Yeah, that's what fuel was trying to go through. So we got a brand spanking new one. We're gonna throw in this here unit, shove it back on the carb, and pray to God that the Quadrajet is able to flow some fuel. Hopefully that filter was the only issue wrong with the Quadrajet after sitting for many years out in the pasture. So anyway, that's what we're gonna do today. Tag along. All right, guys, we've got our engine stuff wrapped up. We've got a new distributor cap. We've got a new rotor. We've got new spark plug wires. We've got new spark plugs. We've got fresh oil and a filter. We've got a fresh filter in the carburetor. And we've loaded up on antifreeze and water in the radiator. So we're all good on the engine side. The last thing we gotta do is the caliper is off of the vehicle on this side, the passenger side. We've got a new caliper and a new set of brake pads. We're gonna go ahead and throw that in, so perhaps we can think about having brakes on this rig. So that's what we're gonna do next. Let's get right to it. All right, guys, so I've got a 13/16 socket, and I've got an impact just to speed things up after we get things loose. We're gonna get the lug nuts off this wheel and tire, then we're gonna start working on that caliper. Probably refurbished Napa caliper here. We've got new caliper bolts, which is going to be really nice. And then we've got a new banjo bolt here for the brake line. We've also got a couple copper washers. That's going to be nice to have. That new brake line too. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing thrown on. And we will be well on our way to getting this thing back on the road. Folks, what's shaking? We are finally pulling out of the negative 20+ degree weather. I feel so warm today. it is like 7 degrees outside. It was negative, I don't know, 6 this morning. Now it's like positive 7 and it feels freaking warm. I love it. But here's the deal. We got the wheels on the Squarebody. We got it off the jack stands. I got a brand new rubber brake hose for the passenger side because the one that I was working on in the video was clogged, and I tried to run some wire through it, clean it out, wasn't happening. So I put a brand new brake hose on the right side, along with that brand new caliper and brand new pads. So now we have brakes. I bled them myself, so they're not perfect, but we might be able to stop. So anyway, what we got going on in the Squarebody is Bad Chad gave us a battery. I don't know where I put it, and it was shot. So I have enough shot batteries, so thanks Bad Chad for the freaking bad battery. So I donated my only side post battery to the cause of the Bad Chad Square. And we got this sucker on the charger. We got the green light blinking on the battery tender, which means we are above 80% charge. So I'm pretty confident we can at least get this thing to spin over. We got brand new plug wires. We got brand new plugs. We got a brand new cap, brand new rotor. We got a brand new carb filter in the front of the quadra-junk. We've got fresh oil. We've got a fresh filter. We've got the radiator plumb full of antifreeze. We have a couple quarts of trans fluid in the thing. We'll have to check that once it's running. You have to check an automatic transmission when it's running in neutral, I think. In gear, whatever. I'll check it later. We're gonna try to get this sucker fired up. I did pour a little bit of gas into the carburetor down the little tubey thingy that everybody says you're supposed to put it in. I knew that, I'm just making a joke. We got gas in the bowl of the quadra-junk. The choke is closed, and we're gonna try to spin this sucker over today. We are positive temperatures, positive attitudes. Lots of work has been done. We're gonna get this Bad Chad Square fired up. I don't care what anybody says. Let me put the camera in a superior position for your viewing pleasure. Let's get to cranking on this thing and see if she fires up. Excited. Gosh dang it. We're going to end this video off. This is so awesome. We pulled this Bad Chad Square out of the freaking pasture. We had some fun with Bortsky. Now we're going to get this thing back on the road. She runs great after just a little bit of a tune-up. That's awesome. Thanks for watching the video on the Bad Chad Square. We'll see you next week on the Mickelson Racing channel.